Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick.
I'm Ian.
Today we're talking about whether or not Warped Tour should make a large-scale comeback. There's a bunch of links down below. Make sure you check them out. There's links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music playlist that we put together every week, and the Patreon page. Make sure you go check all that out. Of course, if you've enjoyed the episode, make sure you give the old thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time we release new episodes. So Warped Tour started way back in 1995. It was going strong all the way up until I think 2018 was the last year that they did it. Really. So when the tour first started, it was mainly like alternative bands,
Punk bands.
It really kind of turned into like mainly punk and metal over the first several years. It kind of made that transition. It was basically, at least the way I always looked at it, was the Warped Tour was always like an alternative to like Lollapalooza, which was like grunge and alternative rock kind of thing that was going on earlier in the decade.
Well, and I think it was kind of a natural thing because you had Lilith Fair, you had...
Which I think Lilith Fair started afterwards, but yeah.
Well, it was in the 90s.
Yeah.
But, you had all these different like festival-style shows.
Touring festivals
going around the country. And Warped Tour just fit that void because you wouldn't have... you wouldn't really have like even a female punk band in Lilith Fair, really.
Yeah, I'm not sure what.
Lilith Fair always kind of seemed like more singer-songwriter
stuff,
stuff, but geared towards female artists, as I understood it. Maybe I could be wrong, but it seemed like it was always kind of focused on that because it was really started by like Natalie Merchant and.
I think it was Sarah McLachlan.
Yeah. And I think Natalie Merchant. She was definitely in the first Lilith Fair, but anyway. Yeah. I think Warped Tour just kind of filled a
void that was there.
Well, that group of different types of artists.
Yeah. So the first year I went was in '99 with you, correct? Mm-hmm. And it was definitely more than just punk. I mean, there was. I think there was. I think Dr. Dre was there. There was definitely some rap artists that were there. There was definitely like
some crossover.
There was definitely There was a lot of crossover there. It wasn't mainly just punk bands.
Was Dr. Dre there in '99 or was that 2000?
I think it was 99 when we went.
Okay. Well, we went in 2000.
I know. We went in 2000 also, but 2000 was when we saw there was MXPX there. 1999, I think, was the punk rock summer camp.
Okay.
So it was mainly like a lot of underground punk bands that were there, which was fantastic.
And that's what I kind of enjoyed 99 more, even though we got like super like sun poison.
Yeah.
it was a rough weekend. We did like tons of shit that weekend.
Yeah.
But I think I enjoyed 99 better just because it had bands that were like you hadn't heard about.
Yeah, yeah. And when we went in 2000,
it was much more like big bands,
mainstream artists that were there. But so from 1995 until I think the last major tour that Warped Tour did was in 2018, and then they announced that 2018 was basically going to be the last year of the tour. 2019 they did a couple of shows, I think, and then the guy that created Warped Tour retired. And then somebody else took over. I think 2024, I think there's 3 dates that they're going to do this year for the Warped Tour. And the one thing I always loved about the Warped Tour, compared to other, like Lollapalooza or even now a lot of the other big shows they're doing, like We Were Young Festival, which those things are hundreds of dollars to go to.
Right.
The one thing I always loved about the Warped Tour is always pretty cheap. When we went in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was like $20 to go for the day.
I don't even think we paid that much in '99. I think it was like under 20 in '99, and then like 25 in 2000.
Yeah. And then
it was super cheap.
The last time that the Warped Tour was here in Michigan, I want to say tickets were $50, which is still not bad for a day-long festival. And I think that's where, there's so many different festivals out there, and there's a bunch all over the country, but they're hard for a lot of people to get to. Mm-hmm. If you're going to go to We Were Young in Las Vegas, it's going to be expensive. You got to fly out there. You got to stay for the weekend. There's Furnace Fest, which is down in Alabama. Same thing. You got to fly down there. You got to stay. You got to get hotel rooms and all that stuff. There's a lot of travel expenses involved in it. And that's why I think that something that I think the Warped Tour was really great at was it was this touring act that went around all over the country and came to where the people were at. And like the average people were able to go to those shows.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, I get if it's one show, one big festival, and it's in one location, and that's it, you're going to get the hype. You're going to get the people who want to go because they know it's their only chance to see this particular festival.
Yeah, or that lineup in the festival.
But I can't imagine that. I mean, that because of that, that's why you have to charge a lot for your tickets too. Because if you spread that out over like a a U.S. tour. You know, obviously, I think Warped Tour went overseas.
Yeah, there was like 2000. I think it was like there was like 4 or 5 years in the mid 2000s. It went to Australia.
Yeah,
it did go around.
But I mean, even just keeping it localized to the United States, just having that movement around and getting as many people to see it as you can seems to make way more sense to me.
Yeah, especially once you look at. I looked at the We Were Young festival and kind of compared that. That's kind of an equivalent to what the Warped Tour was for all those years. A lot of those same bands were part of that festival. And it was, tickets for that were several $100s. Mm-hmm. If you want like VIP packages, I think they were like $1,000. It was expensive to go to, and it still sold out in days. And that's why I said I think there's still a big draw for something like the Warped Tour to go around and still make a lot of money.
So I've noticed that post-lockdown, I hear a lot more people talking about going to shows. I mean, people are buying tickets for shows months and months in advance in like bunches. They're like, let's like they're shopping, you know. I don't remember ever seeing that before, hearing about that before. So I think there's definitely a live music thing going on right now. That's, how else do
it really hasn't been there for the last like probably decade.
Right. I mean, how else does a Taylor Swift do $1 billion tour? You know, people are itching for live music. Yeah. So it makes sense that they would now is the time to do it.
Yeah, there's definitely a draw there. I think. But I think what ultimately ended up hurting the Warped Tour was the fact that you started having bigger and bigger bands not wanting to participate in it. And if they did participate, it was only like very regionally based. If they're a West Coast band, they would do like just the West Coast dates. So I think people kind of lost some interest in that. And, I think, like, kind of going back to your point that you made, though, we're seeing this big resurgence in the interest in live shows. Mm-hmm. And I think even with some of it being regionally based, you could still put together a really strong tour. Even if you charged, if you bumped the prices up to, I think, $75 a ticket, I think you would still make a lot of money on a tour like that. And as you saw when we were going there in the late 90s, early 2000s, merch was a big deal to those artists.
Oh, absolutely. And selling their CDs and shirts and stuff. Absolutely.
And I still have some of those CDs, too. And, I think that's something that could still be really a good, potentially a great vehicle for a lot of smaller artists to get noticed and get recognition, over like going to some of these festivals nowadays.
Absolutely.
I think something else that could really be beneficial to the Warped Tour and fans and bands is to even do like a streaming service for the shows. Mm-hmm. If you sell tickets for $50 to $75 a piece, people that don't want to go can pay $30 and stream it for the day. Also, just things like that. I think if they're able to think outside the box and do some different things than they tried to do over the last 15 years with the Warped Tour, I think it'd still be a hugely successful thing.
I like that idea. I didn't think about that. You can almost have it set up too where they can like stage hop, or they can like go to different stages.
Yeah,
like as if you're there.
Yeah, You figure that's what Kiss did with their last show in New York. People that couldn't go to it, they were able to pay and stream it and watch it.
Right. I think the other thing is, because you pointed out big bands not wanting to do it as much, and I guess that makes sense because they want to do their own headlining tours. Yeah. But don't focus on having so many big name bands. Kind of focus on having 1 or 2 per year.
And that's kind of
3.
That's kind of what it was after like the late '90s, early 2000s. There was a big boom where the main stages were packed full of big major artists. And then if you go back and look at the Warped Tour lineups from like '94 to like 2015, that's kind of what it was. You had a sprinkling of big artists. Some of it was regionally based, but you had a lot of like mid-tier bands and up-and-coming artists that were taking part of it.
Yeah, because I mean, '99, I don't remember the big name bands. They had Blink, but they were even still just kind of blowing up at that point.
That was '99, so that was right around the time the Enema of the State came
right.
Came
I mean,
out,
that was like, they were big, but they were just kind of gotten really big.
Yeah.
I don't remember any other big names. Pennywise was there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look through the
Wasn't
lineup.
Eminem at one of them that we went to?
Eminem was I think Eminem was at 99.
Yeah. So, I mean, there were bigger names, but I mean, it wasn't like the next year had like Green Day and Blink, but Blink at their kind of their height.
When Blink took the stage in 2000, you couldn't even get close to the stage to see them.
Right, right. So, and when they took it in '99, we were watching Spring Hill Jack.
Yeah.
That was awesome. But yeah, I think keep it simpler. Kind of focus. Get some headliners in there, but only a few, and then that way you can focus on the smaller artists.
Well, that's all we got for today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Make sure you drop us a comment down below. Let us know what you think about the Warped Tour. Do you think it could make a big comeback and be a really profitable tour? Because I really think it could be. Hopefully we'll see something happen, but let us know what you guys think. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure you see a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. And that's all we got. Until next time.
Talk to y'all later.
Keep on spinning. Peace.